This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. October 10th is World Mental Health Day, and this year we are saying thank you to therapists. BetterHelp therapists have helped over 5 million people worldwide on their mental health journeys. That's millions of stories and millions of journeys. Behind each one of them is a therapist who showed up, listened, and helped someone take that next step forward. Moments in therapy, like asking the right questions, having a safe place to get emotional or cry, or small wins, they can change lives. This World Mental Health Day, BetterHelp is honoring those connections and the therapists who make them possible while showing how easy it is to get guidance from a licensed therapist online with BetterHelp. I've been doing therapy for over 2 years and I couldn't recommend it enough. It's helped me so much with relationships with my friends, families, even myself. It's helped me understand myself better, and it's just made for such a better life. It really has. With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally. And it works with an average rating of 4.9 out of 5 for live sessions based on over 1.7 million client reviews. This World Mental Health Day, we are collaborating with those therapists who have helped millions of people take a step forward. If you're ready to find the right therapist for you, BetterHelp can help you start that journey. Our listeners get 10% off of their first month at BetterHelp.com/PFF. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/PFF. The Tennessee Titans defeat the Arizona Cardinals 22-21 in one of the most gut-wrenching games. I mean, call your Cardinals fan friend if you have any just to check in on them today. They're feeling it. They're feeling it today. They're reeling. This one was tough. For as much as I loved watching Cam Ward get that first thrilling win, this one was tough knowing what was on the other side and why this came to be. We'll dig into all that. Top 5 graded players that we had for the Tennessee Titans who got their first dub of the season. Defensive tackle Jeffrey Simmons was a game wrecker in this one, an 89.5. Wide receiver Calvin Ridley, an 82.2. Center Lloyd Cushenberry, a 78.8. Offensive guard Kevin Zeitler, a 76.8. L'Jarius Sneed with a 74.3. Quarterback Cam Ward, a 68.0, but it was really that second half of that fourth quarter that was a wild ride. On the Arizona side of things, their rookie cornerback Will Johnson with an 83.6, tight end Trey McBride a 79.2, offensive tackle Paris Johnson Jr. a 75.3, wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr. with a 71.4, edge rusher Josh Sweat a 70.1, and Kyler Murray in this game a 64.4. Dalton, the stat that told the story here. What do we got?
I just have a crazy one, kind of, sort of. It goes with the comeback in the Titans and the way they played in the fourth quarter, because let's start there, is that finally 4 3/4 games into it, the Titans offense looked like something serviceable, right? 212 yards in the fourth quarter on the way to this big comeback victory. I just want a comparison real quick of what they've done previously to this, all right? 212 in the fourth quarter of this game. Remember that. The entirety of week 1, they had 133. The entirety of week 2, they had 252. Week 3, they had 282. Week 4, they had 175. And the first 3 quarters of this game, they had 115. 212 yards in this fourth quarter. That's why it was part of it. There's a lot of this that is, yes, the Cardinals gave this game away. Without question, it's as bad a collapse as you can have. But also the Titans in this fourth quarter showed us more offensively on 3 drives than they had for 4 3/4 games before that.
You were right.
Which Cam Ward deserves a ton of credit for. As a team, in the fourth quarter, out of seemingly nowhere, the Titans had a 92.8 offensive grade with 7 explosive plays out of 24 total, and Cam Ward made 3 big-time throws. And I'll tell you what, the 2 throws, both throws to Calvin Ridley. There's the go ball at the end, but the deep shot over the Tampa 2 down the middle of the field.
What, the one to
also to Ridley.
The one throw to Ridley that was are you talking about the 50-yarder that's on a rope, a frozen rope?
Right down the middle of the field, yeah.
That is going to be a top 5 throw that we see all season.
Yeah.
I went back and I watched that one because I didn't really pay attention to it live. I just was like, oh, what a bomb down the field. That is, you want to talk about arm talent.
That was a 50-yard throw that did not get off the ground.
That was a rope
Yeah.
that was 50 yards. There are very few quarterbacks that do that.
Yeah.
And Cam Ward apparently is. Now, he had like a 3-step runway into it, but like, who cares? That was, I went back and watched that throw. It's going to be a top 5 throw that we see all season long. That was unbelievable.
And then followed it up with the winning throw to Ridley out on the go ball out on the sideline. Just, I mean, you can't, those two especially you can't throw those footballs any better at all. And the Titans, give them credit, man. First and foremost, give them credit. They got the first win of the year, first win of Cam Ward's career. They took advantage of every opportunity in front of them, because I'm watching this game, and I'm watching the two fumbles from the Cardinals that either drive could have put the game away. Mm-hmm. But I'm going, okay, the Titans still have to do the hard part. They have to score, which for them has been extremely hard. They got shut out last week against Houston. Credit to their offense and Cam Ward and Calvin Ridley especially for just finding whatever they had in the tank to take advantage of the opportunity they were given.
So, Cam Ward in the fourth quarter, that was my stat that told the story here, because I'll focus on that. 93.2 passing grade in the fourth quarter. 13 for 18, 3 big-time throws. One of them I wanted to point out is probably a top 5 throw that I'm going to see.
There was a few times he did that at Miami last year.
Look, this game, where it was perfect, no. Should the Titans have even won? No. But now that they did, now that we got the opportunity to see what Cam was able to do in the fourth quarter, it was just a reminder. I think they got the right guy. I really do. I think this is if Cam Ward does not have success in Tennessee, I think it is a Tennessee Titans organizational failure. I do not think it's going to be a Cam. Now, again, I'm not saying that Cam is perfect. I'm not saying that he's the greatest quarterback prospect of all time. But you watch that fourth quarter and you go, we can win with this guy. Every team in the league would say we can win with this guy. Every single one. And it's up to Tennessee to now build a team around him.
And shocking, by far their best pass protection day.
Dude, so I was going to point that out. My most impressive today. 76.6 team pass blocking grade, by far their best of any grade on the season. 80.1 pass blocking grade and only 5 pressures allowed. That's awesome. A 76.6 overall blocking grade and an 80.1 pass blocking grade. That's fantastic. And I think their success in the fourth quarter certainly went into those scores being what they were. But however it came about, it's cool for the Titans to get that win.
Absolutely. I mean, it's always good if you're Cam Ward, if you're a rookie quarterback, to get your first one. It doesn't matter. The result is the result, and let's be real. See, I know you don't. I know you like that. The standard is the standard. The result is the result. I know that's one of your favorites, but
the result is the result. I don't hate as much as the standard is the standard.
But the standard brings the result.
Only if it's the standard.
But it is.
Sure.
Anyway, no, I mean, look, if you give this guy a chance, if you can pass protect, and he was only under pressure 19% of the time, which is outstanding, considering in almost every other game it was 50.
And the Cardinals' defensive line is good.
Right. So, I mean, just give him a chance. Obviously, we know there's an offseason or two still that they have to work on this, but the offensive line being better is big time. And then they just finally found a way to capitalize and find some guys vertically down the field.
My most disappointing in this game, obviously the DeMarcado fumble at the goal line is the most disappointing.
Someday we'll learn.
You're going to hear plenty of people shout about that. We don't need to shout about it here on this show. What I actually do want to talk about as the most disappointing is Brian Callahan not going for 2 in the fourth quarter when they scored the touchdown. So Tony Pollard scores a touchdown. They go from down 21-6 to 21-12, okay? Joey Sly goes out for the extra point and he misses it. Independent of that, they should have gone for 2. And the reason why is because if they kick the extra point there and they make it, they are still down 8. They have to get a 2-point conversion at some point. So you would rather know early what you need to do to win the game. It doesn't give you any sort of advantage to wait. Like if you are looking at an exact situation like this and you say to yourself, hey, we're down 2 touchdowns, and on one of them we will have to convert a 2-point conversion. You go for it after the first touchdown that you score, because if you don't get it, then you need to know that ahead of time. Because you need to manage the clock properly, you need to manage the game properly, your tempo properly, because you have to get a 2-point conversion eventually. It doesn't do anything for you whether you don't get the 2-point conversion on the first touchdown, or if you have a thrilling, there's 0 seconds on the clock and you don't get the 2-point conversion at the very end of the game, you still lost. It doesn't matter. and you still lost because you couldn't convert the 2-point conversion. So you would rather know what you have to do by going for it early if you know that you will have to complete it at least one time. So that to me was actually the most disappointing in the game, because that's another area where the Titans, amongst the penalties and the miscues and the time management, this is another decision with Brian Callahan and his staff where I go, you're not taking all of the edges that you could to shorten, or I should say widen the margin for error, or just be sharp on what you need to do to win the football game. So that was, amongst the fumbles and everything, that was the most disappointing for me.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, and really, DeMercado's fumble is going to get talked about the most because it's the most egregious one. But let's not forget two other ones here. One, early in the second half, when Hjalte Froholt just snapped the ball to Kyler Murray early, they messed up the snap count, and that went right off Murray's face mask, and that went that was the other way when the Cardinals were in the red zone and the Titans got the ball there. That's a moment they could have gone up 28-6. And it's going to be known now as the circus play of the year, but the Dadrian Taylor-Demerson interception that turned into the wackiest fumble we've seen in a while, and a Tyler Lockett recovery in the end zone. I mean, if he just goes to the ground and takes a knee there after the interception and holds onto the football, the game is over, right? So, I mean, there's really three of them. One of them is going to get more publicized than the rest. And let's be real here. The Cardinals scored their third touchdown with, now these fumbles contribute to it, with just under 11 minutes to go in the second quarter. They did not score again. You leave the door open, these things can happen, especially if you're fumbling the ball all over the place. So, no, it was something of a comedy of errors here for the Cardinals, and the Titans took advantage, and now you're left with an Arizona team in a really darn good division. That much is clear through 5 weeks. The NFC West is really good. This Cardinals team is reeling now, and they have yet to have a game where they've played 60 minutes of good football, and they've been in close games in all 5 of them. But we were worried about this even at 2-0. Yeah, they're not playing great against the Saints and the Panthers. Well, now they're not playing great now against the Niners and the Seahawks, and now even Tennessee, and this is where they've gotten to. They're at a bit of a tipping point when it comes to their season.
Have you seen their schedule moving forward?
I'll
tell you what it is. So
not great.
So they're sitting here at, what's their record?
2-3.
They're 2-3. Next week they're at Indianapolis, then they host the Packers, at Dallas, at Seattle, host the Niners, host the Jaguars, go to Tampa to face the Buccaneers, Rams, Texans, Falcons, Bengals, Rams.
They are a handful of plays from being 5-0, and they're a handful of plays from being 0-5, and the relatively average result is probably the closest thing to what we have on this team.
They're a tough team to trust. They really are.
Yep.
Anything else before we move on?
Nope.
Okay.